me 2 seconds here. Just going to confirm that it's coming through. All right, aloha and welcome to everyone. Thank you for joining in for another one of our dream discussion circles here through Paradigm Shift Central, the Druid and Mystic Dream Discussion Circle with your hosts, me, Brendon, Mystic Spider-Man, and Lacey, Paper Druid. Lacey's going to be joining us a little bit later in the broadcast. And currently within the broadcast, we've got a nice, intimate, small circle, more of a triangle so far to start off with myself, Kelly, and David, aka Motivational Speaker, and Kelly, aka Star Family Therapy. So thank you guys so much for joining. You guys can feel free to like wave and say hello to the camera there. And yeah, we're going to be getting things started here as we just kind of set the intention, build up some momentum, and welcome everyone into another one of our, again, heart-inspiring, mind-expanding, paradigm-shifting consciousness incorporated. What am I trying to say here? Paradigm shifting, consciousness expanding team discussion. So with our dream discussion circles, again, we've been doing this for quite some time, and the intention with these circles is to be able to create a space for community, for us to be able to come together, to be able to practice talking about dreams, talk about our relationships with dreams, to be able to support and inspire each other on this journey of developing a deeper relationship, developing recall, working towards lucidity, and also documenting some of the stories, documenting the experiences that we are having within our dream practices as well. So if you're tuned into this maybe for the first time, there's lots of other dream related broadcasts that we've done. The info for those are in the YouTube broadcasts. Link in the info for the YouTube. You can find the link to the past broadcasts there as well. And again, thank you so much to our Patreon supporters. You guys help make these broadcasts possible. If you're looking to be able to join in for future Paradigm Shift member events, then go ahead and check out the Patreon there. It's $11 a month. And again, we got lots of other awesome, inspirational, conscious community events for you to be able to join in on there. And if you haven't already, you can also join in on our Discord server. And again, all the link is in the info for this video. Another thing, I'll be mentioning this a little bit later. If you haven't already heard, I've been getting more active on the Ibble app. If you haven't heard of Ibble, IBBLE, it's a new video app that's kind of focused around discussion where people can reply with 1-minute discussions. The reason why I'm mentioning this is because I just created a dream discussion thread, specifically a dream log recall thread on Ibble. And this is actually a place where basically we're using the app to be able to create an intentional container for us to be able to share our dream recall in short 1-minute videos that create like a sequence of all of our recall clips strung together. So I just created that tonight. You can find the link for Ibble in the information for this video. Go ahead and use my referral link. That helps me out, and it helps connect you into the ongoing discussions that we are hosting there, which are a variety of inspirational paradigm shifting topics there. So I'll talk more about the Ibble app as it's relative, but I'm sure you guys will see me posting about it. And yeah, thank you again, everyone, for your support, for joining here tonight. And with that said, we'll get into just like a quick little micro meditation. I know some of our members are going to be joining us a little bit later as we go. And then from there, we're going to be going around the circle, just introducing who we are, what our relationship with dreams is, and then also getting into some question prompts that you, the audience, are going to be able to reflect on as well. And then from there, just kind of allowing the discussion to naturally unfold. And I got there's about 3 questions that I got, but like there's one in particular that I'm really excited to be able to get into because it's really going to help flex our imagination in terms of the potential and the possibilities of dreams. So thank you again to those of you on YouTube. If you guys can hear me loud and clear, go ahead and drop that 1111 in the chat. And yeah, let's just take a moment just to be able to do a very short micro meditation, just to be able to anchor into our heart space. And then we'll dive deep into today's dream discussion circle. So yeah, when everyone's ready, go ahead and just take a moment here and just allow yourself to get nice and comfortable. And we're just going to close our eyes just for a brief moment. For those of you on YouTube, or sorry, for those of you on TikTok or Instagram, go ahead and click the link in my profile, tune in on YouTube, and we would love to have you there and leave your comments for the rest of the community to be able to see as well. So for everybody here, when you're ready, just go ahead and take a moment. Just give yourself permission to close your eyes. Just connecting with your breath, soft, gentle inhales and soft, gentle exhales. And as we breathe here, just arriving into this space, arriving into this moment, arriving into this practice of speaking, this practice of listening not only to each other, but also to our own hearts, to be able to develop a deeper relationship with our dreams, with ourself, with the cosmos, to know thyself, nasate ipsum. And so as we just allow ourselves to gently breathe into our heart space, let us just focus on gratitude. Gratitude for ourselves, for being here, for showing up, for listening. Gratitude for this community, gratitude for this space, gratitude for the fractals of souls that we see ourselves as, for all the unique journeys that we share, for the psychedelic experiences that we get to be able to talk about and discuss here within this circle. And so just take a moment here as we just visualize all of us here in this beautiful circle, even the people tuned in listening to this in the future, as you just kind of look around, just kind of nod gently with a soft smile. I see you, I thank you, I honor you, welcome. So just take a few moments here as you just breathe into your heart. And before we conclude this meditation, from your heart right now, what do you want to say to all the dreamers out there? All of us here who are continuing to develop a deeper relationship with our dream practices, a couple words of motivation and inspiration to nurture our spirit, to inspire our soul. What do you want to say from your hearts to the hearts of all the people who are in this circle with us right now? Just go ahead and take a moment to listen. Just gently connecting with the breath, maybe straighten up the spine, nice soft inhale, nice soft exhale, a bit of a sigh if you wish. Holding this image in our mind of all of us just chilling out here in this beautiful circle, ready to be able to share in the excitement of our passion for dreams and to explore the mystery together. Carrying this vibration with us in our heart as we move forward into this discussion. When you're ready, gently beginning to bring awareness back to your physical body as you wiggle your toes, wiggle your fingers, and gently open your eyes and return your awareness to the space around you. Beautiful. Awesome. Welcome back, everybody. And again, please feel free to leave some comments in the chat if you guys want to even just share what was a message that came through for you, even if you just want to give a quick little paraphrase. My message was just kind of like this idea that like your dreams are like, this is basically the idea, like your dreams are the bricks on the pathway home. It was kind of like this image that I got. So it's like each dream that we have is kind of another step leading us back to home, leading us back to the heart, leading us back to source, whatever that means to you. So beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. All right. We look forward to being able to have everybody in the YouTube chat just adding their discussion into today's topic, into today's discussion circle. So if you have any comments, please feel free to leave those as we go, and we'll do our best to just be able to incorporate those. Again, for our Patreon members, for our leading members, if you guys want to join in on the Zoom when you're able to, please feel free. Obviously, it's a small circle tonight. The more people we have, the more we can just kind of bounce around. And yeah, with that said, we'll just get things started, and we'll get the momentum rolling, and then I'm sure we'll have a few more people join as we go. So starting things off, again, just talking about dreams, what we're going to do, we're just going to kind of go around the circle and just do a quick check-in and just kind of share a little bit about where everyone's at in terms of their relationship with dreams, and even just kind of like sharing, you know, on a scale of 1 to 10, where your dream recall is currently. And yeah, even just a little bit about your history with dreams. And then from there, we'll just go around with a quick question prompt. And then shortly after that, we'll get into some dream stories. But even if you want to let us know about some upcoming dream stories, that's totally cool too. So I'll just start off real quick. My dream recall, admittedly right now, like I feel like even just again with doing these classes, I know that doing these classes definitely helps kind of like recalibrate me, because I know life can get so busy, and sometimes dreaming is like the last thing on my list in terms of like the things that I need to be able to focus on. You know, like there's chores and tasks and family to take care of during the day, and then by the time my head hits the pillow, I'm just, you know, there to rest. And that's totally okay. And that's, again, a natural part about being human. As a result of that, you know, my dream recall, I haven't been recording my dreams very well in the morning, admittedly. So my dream recall has been maybe around like a 2, 3, sometimes a 4. However, even just last night, I was feeling myself starting to get back into recall, and I actually had a little bit of lucidity last night, which I'll share a little bit about a little bit later, and I actually talked about it in the Ibble thread as well. But yeah, that's kind of where I'm at. I'm always eager to be able to just develop more about my dreams, because I know there's a lot of potential within my dream practice, and just being surrounded by other awesome dreamers is always an exciting thing to be able to help keep me focused and keep me accountable and keep me inspired. So that's where I'm at. And with that said, we'll just pass it around. And so Kelly or David, whoever would like to go next, just go ahead and put your hand up and we will pass it over to one of you. And then from there, we'll again just kind of move into some question prompts. And then from there, we'll just go with the flow. So who would like to go next? We'll pass over to Kelly. So with that said, Kelly, thank you so much for joining today's Dream Discussion Circle. And for everybody here, go ahead and give a nice warm welcome for Kelly. And Kelly, when you're ready, go ahead and just kind of share a little bit about what your relationship is like with Dream. And if you want to give us a little bit of a sneak preview of some stories you might want to share later and where your recall is at currently and anything else you would like to share. So welcome, Kelly. Thank you for being here. Hold on, Kelly, I think your mic's still muted. Just double check that real quick.
There
we go. We're good. Go for it.
Hi, I've been a lucid dreamer for a while. I tried to do it for a long time and couldn't do it, and finally unlocked it. And so I have had some fun stories up here on these kind of discussions, and I've shared some already. But I learn a lot through my dreams that would have been very dangerous to learn in real life. So I really take the lessons where I learned something the hard way in a dream that maybe was about to happen that weekend or something. So I've been able to benefit from that. And as a therapist, I talk to my clients about dreams, and we process how stress is relieved in dreams. Sometimes it's just a way for your brain to relieve stress. And I have a cool story for later that was one of those dreams that really helped.
Awesome. Thank you, Kelly. And did what's your current recall level at right now, if you didn't share that already?
Right now it's only about a 5 because I needed to take a break from the fun I was having in lucid dreams. So I did. So it's only about a 5 right now.
Fascinating. And it's interesting that it's like you almost have like the ability to kind of like choose like how much you kind of like want to be in that state where you can kind of like change the nozzle just based on where you need to focus at otherwise. So very cool. Awesome. Kelly, thank you for sharing. Let's keep things rolling along. And David, if you're ready, feel free to go ahead and just give a general introduction and then we'll go from there. Welcome, David.
Hey, I'm David. I am a content creator on TikTok and YouTube under the name Motivational Speaker. And I admittedly, maybe it wasn't until, well, I'll just say like right now, I'd probably say my dream recall is about a 2. Maybe earlier, actually maybe mid-December, was probably in the 7 range. I was having really, really clear dreams and getting up and being very sort of, aware of those, writing those down, journaling. But in the past, I don't think I really paid a lot of attention to dreams per se. I didn't really give it a lot of attention until I think I took this course in chaos magic, and they mentioned that, so I got really curious about it. And I remember really having fun sort of exploring that space, specifically, after the recall, and looking at that with kind of the perspective of curiosity about my life. There has been a little bit of lucidity. I've done that a few times. Once on purpose, a couple of times by mistake. Both times scared the shit out of me. So I haven't really been pushing to that space particularly. But yeah, man, I think dreams are dope, and there's a lot of space to explore there.
Awesome. David, thank you again for joining in, and Kelly, thank you as well. And yeah, we can just kind of take a moment here again, even just kind of like be able to reflect on again, like the bigger metaphysical philosophy of what dreams are. And we often cover it when we do these dream circles, and it's always kind of nice just to kind of like take a step back and just kind of invite in a little bit more reflection on like just being able to ask that question, like what are dreams? And I know for a lot of us, like that question will actually evolve as we evolve. And then I think, if you're just getting into it, dreams can be just kind of a way to kind of like unload the unconscious mind, or to be able to like learn things that we have processed throughout the day. But I mean, even for those of us here within this discussion, like I'm curious to just kind of go over that real quick, and then we're going to get into our first prompt. And again, for any of the other members, if you guys want to join in at any point, go right ahead. But yeah, like in terms of like what dreams are, if I were to just kind of like reflect on this question real quick for myself, for me, like I always feel that, like what we think dreams are is probably just like a fraction of what they really are. I think like the actual truth about what dreams are is almost like bigger than we are even capable of fathoming. And that goes hand in hand with being able to see dreams as like a stepping stone to understand more about what it means to be a multidimensional being. So that's where, I get fascinated with this idea of dreams being able to be perceived as like a gateway into a shared space. And a lot of this is talked about from like the Aboriginal perspectives, where they talk about dream time, and to be able to understand that, dreams are in many ways like almost kind of, again, kind of like the space from which we are from and the space to which we return. And so every night, they talk about this. It's kind of like every night we almost go through like this mini quote unquote death, where we don't fully disconnect from this body, but we return to source. We return to this like primordial space. And in this primordial space, it's like so powerful, because when we're conscious and even when we're lucid, we get to be able to experience the truth of the reality that like all is mind, or all is self, like all is one. And this is where a lot of people with the ability to be able to lucid dream, you guys know from your own experience that the reality is much more malleable, and then from there, it's being able to take some of the lessons of that and bringing it over into this reality, to be able to understand that this reality is in itself still another version of the dream. So the intentions that we are putting out, the energy that we are putting out, just as in a lucid dream it changes the dream around us, so too within this waking dream, it too will change the environment. It will change what we attract. It will change what we perceive as well. So yeah, again, I know we kind of cover this question regularly when we do this dream discussion circle, but just for the practice of being able to philosophize and again, just checking in with our own heart, let's just go around the circle since it's just the three of us, and we'll just get through it real quick. David and Kelly, whoever wants to go first, like again, just kind of like intuitively from your heart, what are dreams? Let's just take a swing at that. Go ahead, David.
I don't know about what are they. Jesus. First thing that comes to mind when I think about dreams is a sort of another kind of opportunity, or maybe another kind of construct of consciousness, another space. I think the shared space analogy is really powerful to me, and I do really connect with the awareness that while you are in the dream, there's a level of creation that is moving from this sort of internal space, right? It's more of things are kind of happening at the speed of feeling, and it's just like boom, boom, boom. And that was something that I really stuck with me. And looking at it from the perspective of kind of like you said, when we kind of come out of the dream, I really loved the awareness of that sort of feeling of, it felt like where the creation starts is in this sort of unseen space. And I think a lot of the time we may have we turn it into this weird convoluted thing, call it imagination. We got to visualize it. We got to whatever. But I feel like being in the dream space, being aware of that, you get almost a more of a felt sense of what that looks like. Like I have when I am sort of creating things in my dreams, it can be incredibly fucking detailed and really, really, interesting. And you can go really deep into that. And it's interesting carrying that sort of feeling and awareness to your sort of waking consciousness and sort of beginning to create your life on that level, from that feeling, similarly to how you do in the dream. But just in general, man, I think that they really call into question the nature of what we consider to be real, in reality, right? Like what is reality? And this is way too weirdly philosophical, but it really does kind of give me this sort of step down, maybe in the new Matrix movie. I don't know if you guys saw it, but there's the Morpheus is actually consciousness created in the Matrix, and he's completely autonomous and he does his own thing, but he's created by someone who's in a Matrix. So he's like in a program in a program. And a lot of the ways I feel like dreams can play in that space as well, to not maybe necessarily since in such a step down space, but maybe in the sense that you get a sense that there isn't this hard, fast line between, quote, our reality and dreams. And it really, I don't know, I like the awareness of that, because so much of our experience already is just kind of happening in our minds as it is. And I love the gray area that dreams kind of demand that you take a look at.
Beautiful. Thank you. And thank you for the Matrix reference there as well. So yeah, no, dreams are so meta, man. And that's kind of like, especially just kind of like to plug the idea. I don't know if anybody else here has had this experience, and it's not really one that I'm speaking from my own personal experience, but I know it is a possibility where you can like basically like you're in a dream and then you go into like sub levels within the dream. Say, for example, you can either go to sleep within the dream, or another thing that you can actually do is like meditate within the dream and then kind of like go into another realm. So it definitely is fascinating how dreams kind of reveal this idea that it's kind of like Idra's net, where we have this like web and there's all these little like jewels, these little beads, these little like spheres of reality. And then the dream is kind of like this hyper net where it kind of like links us from one to the other to the other. And it's not always this idea that it's like they're literally like maybe they're inside each other, maybe they're parallel to each other, whatever the case may be. It's like much more hyperdelic than just kind of like the simplicity of this like linear reality than what we're used to. And the other thing I'll just say here real quick, and then we'll just go around the circle real fast. And I know David has to leave soon, so I want to be able to get into a really interesting prompt in a second. But one of the things that's always fascinating about dreams, and I remember when somebody said this to me because it just really hit home, this idea that dreams have a present moment equally as vivid and real as this one right now. So like right now, if you just kind of like take a moment, like if you're listening to this, if you're tuned in and just kind of take a moment, just kind of like breathe and just kind of look around and just kind of bring a little bit of extra awareness to this space and just kind of like feel into your hands and feel into the texture of a surface that's near you and stuff like that. And then just kind of associate that with a memory within a dream. And it's like, wait a second, like, I know that's true. I know that within my dreams, I've had that perception where I've been in those experiences and it was equally as vivid and real as this one. So again, it makes you kind of like begin to fathom the question of like, what are dreams compared to this? And again, I don't think it's this idea that dreams are secondary. I think dreams are actually like what originates, and then we kind of create this like 3D version of the dream that we just exist in as a linear manner, so to speak. But anyways, let's just go around real quick. And we did have Flash join, so welcome, Flash. Happy to be able to have you here. And yeah, Kelly and Flash, let's just kind of go real quick in terms of what are dreams, and then what I actually want to be able to do. I may even kind of like I don't know, David, you have to leave at like what, 9, like on the dot, pretty much. Yeah. Okay, that's fine. All right. So Kelly and Flash, if you're okay, even just with like a short answer, and then we'll just kind of get into a question prompt, and then we can dive a little bit deeper. Kelly or Flash, who wants to go next? Go for it, Flash.
I'm in and out as well, but I'll be listening and I'll stay on.
Cool. Oh, sorry. I accidentally hit the mute button on you. I meant to hit the other button.
It's all good. Is that better? It's all good. So, no, definitely. I feel like what I've been listening to so far really reflects my feelings on dreams. And again, my relationship with dreams goes back my entire life, but lately, like it's, as below, so below, what's same of the macro, same of the micro. And at any point in time, I can take a look at my dreams and really decide what I want to do. What perspective do I want to take? Do I want to look at this as a reflection of a problem I'm working through? Sometimes they're very premonitory of a situation that I'm even not aware of. Like in the chat, Laura, I had a dream about Lauren last night and Sifu, and she's like, hey, we actually just talked. And I was like, oh, okay, that happens. So, but then it can happen where I have dreams that are much more at the collective level, and I get, lucidity in that sense where you are settling into that moment and being very aware and present with this moment. It's a very similar feeling for me when I reach that lucidity within a dream. Definitely can relate to the kind of terror that comes with that when you have a moment of lucidity. And so yeah, for me, the dreams are whatever you want to make of them. It's your choice. If you're at a moment where, the dream needs to be something that's very personal to you, you can do that. Just like anything around us in this physical space, we can look at it and it can have a very personal meaning to us, or we can look at it as it's a more collective social meaning. So it's that Indra's net. More I in that moment, the more powerful, the more the message. I'll say I've had permanent. Actually, just had one that finished up, and it took a year and a half for this dream to kind of reach full circle. It was really interesting. So, but I'm excited to get into more prompts as I can. Thank you.
That's fascinating. Like that's again kind of like a whole subtopic within the genre of dreams is kind of like sequential dreams, where it's like an overarching story that happens from one dream across a series of dreams as well. So it's kind of like tuning in for episodes on Netflix or something like that kind of thing.
Yeah,
so,
I should just clarify. This was one dream. Actually, in my real life, it took a year and a half for the elements of that dream to come to fruition.
Oh, okay.
So that's more, yeah.
That's like a whole thing in itself as well. Okay, cool. Thank you for clarifying. Cool. All right. Thank you, Flash. Kelly, did you want to share real quick on just kind of like what are dreams from your perspective? Go ahead, Kelly. Take a swing at that.
Yeah, if I had to do just one word, I'd say a gift. But they're like proof that there's more, kind of like what you were saying earlier. They're tutorials, lessons, releases, reminders. So many things.
Very cool. Awesome. All right. Okay. So let's just get into a quick prompt, and I want to see if I can even just get into a couple of them real quick. But for everybody here, just take a moment here. I wanted to just be able to give everyone a chance, just kind of like reflect on this individually, even for those of you just like in the recording, for those of you on YouTube, just to take a moment. So the intention here is just to be able to kind of like practice just like listening into your heart. So go ahead, and even if you guys just want to like just kind of like close your eyes and just kind of breathe. You don't even have to close your eyes. You can like keep your eyes open and even just like write anything down and stuff like that. But just take a moment to just kind of like breathe into this moment. So, okay. So I'm going to ask you a question, and then what you're going to do is basically just listen to your heart, allow the answer to arise, and pay attention to that. So in 3 words, how would you describe your current relationship with your dreams? In 3 words, how would you describe your current relationships with your dreams? So let's just go into a moment of silence, and then we'll come back from there. Just go ahead and reflect on that. Write it down if you need to. When you're ready, you can go ahead and gently bring your awareness back to the space around you. Okay. All right. So we'll kind of combine this in the next prompt into this, so we can kind of combine it into one question. But the question after this that I was going to ask would be, in 3 words, how would you describe your ideal relationship with your dreams? Which for some of us may be easier. And I'm even noticing that even as I was doing that prompt, I was kind of having trouble with that. I'm like, man, like what are the words that explain my relationship with my dreams right now? And so for me, like if like, I don't know if it's like single words, but I mean, for me, like some of the words, it was just kind of like, it's like fleeting. I think fleeting would be a word. Like kind of like passive might be a word. Yet at the same time, like even though it's there, it's still like eager to reconnect. Like it's kind of like it's like I know that it's not like, it's almost like my relationship with my dreams, opposed to just describing in one word, and then you guys can describe it however you want, but it's almost kind of like it's like an old friend that I know who I really like, and I'm excited to hang out with them, and I haven't seen them in a while, and so like I'm wanting to be able to arrange that meeting, sort of thing. That's like kind of like the closest thing I can describe to a feeling, I guess. But anyways, let's just go around and see what else we can kind of come up with here. So anybody else wants to jump in, just go ahead and raise your hand, and welcome to the new people who joined, Lauren and Candace as well. Go ahead, David. Yeah.
You took mine. I literally was gonna. There's. I did say I had infinite, because there's this sort of bottomlessness that I sort of experience in dreams. But I was also gonna say there's also this nostalgia that I get in certain spaces when I move into certain spaces that have been sort of around for a bit, that I visited before, and being in maybe a different state of own personal consciousness, looking around it where it was maybe, horrifying before, and now it's like, oh, that wasn't all that bad, or, being able to become more curious about that. So, and I will say exciting. I think there is an excitement element to taking care and moving through dreams right now as well too.
Very cool, very cool. And yeah, even just like as we're talking about that, we can kind of begin to start to imagine, like, it's like, what do we want the relationship to look like? What do we want it to feel like? So we can get into that in the next couple of minutes, and hopefully if we have time, we'll get into the other prompt before David leaves, because it's a pretty cool one, and David can take it with him as need be. So again, the question was just, I know a couple of people just joined, Candace and Lauren just joined. The question was in 3 words, give or take, how would you describe your current relationship with your dreams, with your dream practice? So who would like to go next? Go ahead and just let me know. Candace? Yeah, okay, cool. Go right ahead, Candace. Welcome.
How I would say my dream practices is that they're real, and they're like they my dreams bring me a sense of reality check, like what to work on in my 3D self. So that in itself has been interesting, and I've also in the dream sequence dealt with my evil self, and so that's been quite the journey to explore.
Thank you, Candace, for sharing. Well, let's just keep things moving around here as we go. Lauren, Kelly, or Flash, if either of you would like to go next, go right ahead. And pass it over to Lauren. Welcome, Lauren.
Hey, everyone. Yeah, I guess mine lately would be mystical, very mystical, pretty dark, like Lilith energy. And that's what I got when I thought of them. I've been seeing we'll go into stories later, but I've been seeing some interesting stuff lately.
Ooh, fascinating. Thank you, Lauren, for joining. Yeah, and again, it's interesting, different to hear, because again, like my answer was kind of from this idea. It's just like, oh, my relationship with my dreams is kind of like absent right now. Like it's there, but then it's just like for those of us who are involved with our dreams, it's just like, it's like the words are just like, yeah, it's like mystical, otherworldly, outer space, aliens, It's like it's completely different depending on who's answering. Kelly or Flash, if either, and again, you guys don't even have to share, but if any of you wants to share, go for it, Flash. Yep.
Sure. I think right now, like the words are definitely like flow and transformation and empowerment. And it's kind of unbidden. It's just been coming lately for me. So, and then what I hope for my dreams is more lucidity. I guess that would be it. Yeah.
Cool. Awesome. And Kelly, did you want to add in?
Sure. Yeah, mine have been, I'm going to say experimental right now, because I used to try to have more dreams and try to push it and really want to go for that. And now I'm kind of just letting it happen.
Interesting. I like that kind of, yeah, just kind of like allowing the dreams to give you what you need in that moment. Very cool. All right, real quick, again, just kind of going back to that question. Some of you already answered, but in 3 words, give or take, what would be your ideal? How would you describe your ideal relationship with dreams? So I'll just answer on that. For me, words I would describe it like consistent and vigilant would be a word. Like vigilant in terms of like my practice of like recalling them, talking about them, having community to be able to share them with, which was again like a big reason why I created that Ibble thread, because I know me creating that creates a little bit of accountability. And I guess significant and nurturing would be some of the words. I mean, I could definitely think of more than 3, but I know that like when I'm in tune with my dreams, it really does like nurture a part of my spirit that isn't necessarily like it doesn't get quenched quite in an, I mean, it can and it can't. But there's definitely like a way that dreams can kind of like water a part of my heart that is not necessarily like watered by other things. I mean, again, it is and it isn't, but I do feel that dreams are, yeah, and even just like psychedelic. And by psychedelic, I mean kind of like those moments where it's like holy moments, connecting me with like those awe moments, those God moments. Which again just kind of like bring me back to a deeper realization of my connection with this reality, and again what I'm here to be as well. Self-revelation would be another word as well. So again, let's just kind of go around the circle real quick. So 3 words, give or take, what would describe your ideal relationship with dreams? Anybody who wants to share, just go ahead and either put your hand up or just unmute. Pass it over to David. Yeah, go for it.
Careful, taking more care in that space, going on. I have found that when I go to bed the night before, obviously with the intention of remembering those dreams, it's always a better sort of experience. Present, both sort of in the dream and with the awareness of, I've always really appreciated, I think in the past I got really kind of obsessed with maybe the divinatory aspects of it, like what's the future? And so taking care to remember, or rather, I guess present it's been best for me when I realized that, or when I allowed whatever showed up to point me into kind of what was happening in front of me, like into the present moment. That has been fantastic. So yeah, careful, present, and free, I think. Free. I feel like a lot of the time I can inadvertently be sort of limiting myself in my, quote, real life, in my waking life. And dreams, there's no holds barred. I think the first time I, quote, lucid dreamt, it was not the lamest. I was just like, oh, well, I'll fly for a bit. This is cool. All right, that's enough. And so I'd like to have a freer sort of relationship with that as well.
Very cool. Yeah. And again, it's important for us to kind of like look at our relationship with dreams as like, like any sort of relationship that we're creating, we want to be able to bring like that consciousness into it. So we want it to be something where we're both, like bringing intention, but then also just being able to like receive that which we are there to be able to receive, like it is something where you can't just show up to a dream and say like, this is how it's going to be. This is, I'm taking control. It's like, you can try. You're probably going to get your cosmic ass handed to you in some form or another. But as David was kind of saying, I think, one of the best ways to be with dream is to kind of, as this metaphor that I've used before, it's kind of like holding an open hand. Like it's like holding, like you empty your cup and you're just like, show me what I'm here to see, like, show me what I'm ready to receive. And then the dreams will kind of like pour this like golden elixir into your hands if you're there to hold it. But if you're just like trying to tell it what to do and you're waving your arms around, the dream's going to try and like give you something. And it's just going to land at your feet. So like dreams are something that's it's a symbiotic relationship where you want it to be something where you are putting in the intention as much as you're receiving. It's the yin and the yang as well, because without us, we can get more into this another time, but it's like, you're not the only intelligence within the relationships of your dreams. It's not, it is just you in some bigger cosmic picture, I guess you could say that. But from some level, and again, this is more like the philosophical things just to ponder, like based on my best guess, like there's another degree of intelligence that is almost observing us. And then it's kind of like curating the dreams. It's giving something to us. It's almost kind of like flicking a switch and deciding what we get next. David, do you have to literally head out in 1 minute? Because I'll just give you the prompt. Okay, so the prompt that I'm going to give you guys, and we can kind of get into this even after David leaves. And David, I just want you to take this with you. And I would love to hear your answer, but if you got to go, that's totally fine. But the question is basically, okay.
I have to go at 9:25.
Okay, that's totally fine. Candace.
I might be back though.
Okay.
Just to let you know.
Perfect. Thank you, Candace. All right. So the quick prompt for anybody here, and again, I still want to go around the circle about the ideal concepts. But anyways, okay, here's the question. If you, and again, I'm kind of paraphrasing here. If you could choose what your dream would be, imagine what an ideal dream would be. So basically just imagine right now that if you could just kind of like enter into the dream space and maybe you had full lucidity, maybe it wasn't lucidity, maybe it was kind of something you were just going along the path with. Imagine in your mind, imagine in your heart, listen from your heart, like what does your heart want to dream? This is a very, very interesting question. And again, we're kind of just putting it out there because I know David has to head out, but we're going to get back to it in the next little bit. And I want us to be able to practice discussing in a group, just kind of like, what would an ideal dream look like to you? Not even just because that could be like, there could be like 100 ideal dreams that we could have, so I'll just kind of put out some ideas. This could be like, oh, like I want to go to another planet and talk to an ancient civilization, or it could be something quite simple where it's like, I want to walk along the beach with my grandfather. I want to roll around in the field with my dogs that have passed on, or something like that. Like, just imagine this potential that you have through the unlimited possibilities of what dreams can give you. And again, it could be like, oh, I want to like have lasers shooting out of all my faces and stuff, like all my faces, have lasers shooting out of my face and stuff. I want to do like crazy, whatever it may be. David, take that question with you, dude. And I know you got to get out of here, man. But thank you so much for joining. If there's anything else you just want to share before you go for it real quick.
Okay, well, just kind of maybe in that direction. I was like, oh, I don't know. And then like what really came up, I don't know if you remember there was this game that recently came out that like didn't go well. It was No
Man's Sky?
Yes, like my mind
went
to No Man's Sky like immediately. It just expanded in that way. I think I've always kind of been a bit of a glutton, and just more is more for me. And so my kind of ideal dream space is always like creation, planet hopping, universe creation, and just playing around with as many experiences simultaneous, just kagebunching myself into all these spaces and just seeing what happens. So that's probably it.
That sounds pretty cool. Well, dude, David, thank you so much for dropping by, man. We look forward to being able to have you here, and all the best with your D&D game tonight. So
good to see everybody. Bye.
Take care. And guys, if you're not following David on Instagram and TikTok, motivational speaker, check him out there, and go watch Star Trek, and you can see him in that movie as well. So gotta plug Star Trek. Okay, David, talk to you later, man. All the best. See you later. Cool. All right. So again, I know we're kind of eager to get into that question, but let's just take a step back because I want to go back to that original question of, like, in 3 words, what would you describe your ideal relationship with dreams being like? So let's just kind of go back to that question. We'll get into the next question very soon. And then I also want to create room for storytelling as well. And then again, we'll kind of get wrapped up closer by about 10. So going back to that question, in 3 words, how would you describe your ideal relationship with dreams? And not even 3 words, in some words, what would you describe your ideal relationship like with dreams? Who likes, Candace, you like to go next? Go for it.
Yeah. So my words to describe dreams would be adventure and creativity and expensive.
Very good.
I'm always expanding in my dream world.
I love that.
Because of that, my dreams become real in reality. It's so cool.
Thank you, Candace. Let's keep going here, and I'm sure we can all just, it's cool because again, as we're having a group discussion, I think like all of our answers are kind of like we're kind of like bringing them into like a super answer in the middle here to help us envision what a relationship can look like. Flash, did you want to go next? So, yeah, go for it.
Yeah, honestly, like mine kind of reflect Candace's as well quite a bit. The adventure idea of mine was like leveling up. Like it's a great space to practice, and then kind of creativity was. Sometimes I want dreams to escape. Like sometimes I do want dreams to just go on an escape place. I don't have to do a bunch of work, but at the same time, there's this empowerment that I've been experiencing in my dreams a lot, where it's an utter calm and very peaceful, and just there's no fear. So that's definitely what I'm looking forward to. Thanks.
I like that peaceful and everything. So cool. Lauren or Kelly, whoever would like to go next, go for it. Yeah, Kelly, go for it. Yeah.
Comical, intimate, and loving.
I like that. I like that. No one else is like specifically to be like, I want my dreams to be funny. Like, I like that idea. It's like my dreams are going to be entertaining, and they're going to be well written, and they're going to have great characters and great dynamics and stuff like that. A+. So cool. Lauren, go right ahead, add in.
I love comical. I think that one's great. I didn't really have any like 3 words, but I guess I would just like my dreams to, I would love to help give energy to this planet and like form with other people, like nerdy save the world kind of stuff, because I really do feel like we are astral traveling in our sleep sometimes we're subconsciously venting something, or like it's a brain processing and venting itself, but other times we're able to tap into things, and it's so beautiful, and I can't wait to keep sharing, but I'll cut my sharing time.
Yeah, we got plenty of time. There's only a few of us here, so we got plenty of room to be able to share for everyone. So let's keep things rolling along here, and let's kind of, unless anybody else has anything to share, just maybe if thought of something else that they want to be able to add, we'll move into that prompt that I was talking about earlier of like visualizing an ideal dream. So if you guys are ready for that, okay. All right, just touching base. Lacey may or may not be in tonight, but either way, she sends her love. So let's just take a moment here to go back to that question that we were talking about earlier, where we're just practicing visualizing and feeling. If we could like imagine what an ideal dream could be. Like if we could just kind of like listen to our heart, and it's almost kind of like even right now, where like if we ask this question to ourselves now, it might be different. The answer might be different than if we were to ask ourselves in a week from now. So it's like, what does your heart want right now? And then we can kind of just expand, and we'll just kind of chit chat on this. We'll just say, again, this is all just practice. So let's just take a moment here as we just kind of collectively create space for ourselves to just be able to reflect on this prompt. So just inviting everyone, if you wish, feel free to close your eyes. Again, for anyone listening in, you're a part of this experience as well. So just breathe here, a little bit of a micro meditation. Listen to your heart. Invite it to be able to share. If you could imagine a dream that you could just like pick it, just lay it out, just write the script, create the scenario, create the scene, create the emotions, create the vision. What would that look like? And what would that feel like? So just go ahead and take a few moments here. I'm going to stop talking. We'll just come back in a little bit. So just go ahead and just listen from your heart. Go ahead. Just take about 15 more seconds here. Just thanking whatever wisdom arose and knowing that there's obviously more to be able to explore here. And we'll just start by scratching the surface and know that this is a prompt that you can go back to at any time. When you're ready, gently just bring an awareness back to your physical body, wiggle your toes, wiggle your fingers if you need to, and slowly open your eyes, return your awareness to the space around you. Cool. Awesome. All right. Let's give it a moment here. I know Lacey's just joining in, so we'll get things situated. Okay. So Lacey, welcome. Feel free to take your time getting set up. Oh, Kristen's joining in. All right, the whole gang's here now. So I know a couple of people probably got excited from that prompt. So again, just to reiterate, the prompt that we were just sharing is again, it's a little bit of like a thought exercise, a feeling exercise, where we're meditating on, in this moment, if you could imagine an ideal dream, what would it look like? What would it feel like? Almost as if like if you could create a movie in your mind, what would that be? So for me, and again, we can talk about this for a while because there's not one answer. Like even just as I'm talking about it, I'm like, oh man, that's just one thing, but I could totally see more things branching out of this. For me, if I were to just kind of like feel into like, if I could choose like a super epic dream, the first thing that came to mind when I asked that question was like contact with like galactic star family, like in dream space. That for me would just be something where I would like I'm just imagining in my dream, it would be something where it'd be like me and Lacey like hanging out in a field, sitting under a tree, maybe having a picnic. And then up in the sky, we like see some like OUs, some like UFO contact. And then like this like craft just kind of like lands in front of us. And they basically say like, come on to our ship. And then we like walk into the ship. And then they like take us to like some sort of like galactic headquarters. Maybe it's on another planet, or maybe it's even into Hollow Earth. And then they basically just kind of like welcome us into this like futuristic city that's like a merge of like technology and nature. And it's interesting because like this is like some of the stuff I'm talking about here, like Lacey's like dreamt stuff like already like this one. I'm like, I want to experience something similar, or I want to go back to that, because if it can be experienced once, can it be experienced again? Absolutely. And then again, what I'm imagining is some sort of dream where, it's like for me to be in that present moment where there's like these other beings that are like talking to me, and they're just like, yes, like we have been observing you. We are your star family. We love you. We sent you here on some sort of like epic mission, and here's some sort of piece of wisdom and knowledge and gem for you to be able to take with you. And then from there, what I would love to be able to do is for them to be able to like invite us and be like, oh, and it's also like some sort of like festival celebration today. Come join our like space rave. And then me and Lacey go to a space rave together, and we're like dancing in space rave space. And like, there's all these like beautiful psychedelic lights, and everyone's like creating things with their mind because it's like dream space at the same time. And then from there, it would just like move into like a whole nother space that would be like personal and everything like that. And maybe I would see some of like my family members and maybe like my like old dogs would like have a cameo or something like that. So anyways, that's in my mind, just like something off the top of my heart in terms of an ideal dream space. I'm curious if anybody has anything kind of like similar to that, but we'll just kind of like practice going around. Any comments on that? We'll just create a space if anybody has any comments on anything before we jump into the next share. Lauren, yeah, did you have a comment on that? Go for it.
That was awesome and very similar to like what I was saying. But also, I feel like this is the dream. Like us in meditation, we're in different brainwave state in hypnosis. And it's like we're processing this right now together. And it's like forming a bigger dream. And it's really beautiful just listening to you talk about, because I didn't get to the contact ET part. I don't really think about that. But I do think about like I was in a van going around the corner, and a bunch of people were just there at permaculture stuff. And we were like creating that. And there was a fox there, and it was beautiful. And that was that. But then you like took it to the next level. So I feel like the mountains, and then the ETs came down, and it was like I was still in hypnosis listening to you talk about that. And yeah, I don't know, it's just so beautiful to be able to like envision something that is already within you as you're envisioning it. It's beautiful.
Very beautiful. Thank you, Lauren. Yeah. And again, that's where like even me, when I was thinking of this prompt where I'm like, wait a second, like this is interesting because through us having this discussion, is it also kind of like bringing it into reality? You know, like collectively we're having a brainstorm where it's just like, what can we dream about? You know, so like, let's put these ideas together on the table. And now that I've just kind of talked about it, as I fall asleep, I can create that intention. There is no reason that whatever I just talked about, a version of that could not happen within the dream state. Like imagine if you can literally get to that point within your dream practice where you basically can kind of like direct your dreams to a degree where it's just like, I want to be able to visit contact. I want to be able to go to like a planet. I want to be able to go, you know, and this is where, again, when you start to fathom what dreams are, like I think where we are as a culture and even just as individuals, you know, like I think we're just kind of like beginning to just like peek into the potential of dream. So if you were to just fathom a culture that's like, you know, a little bit more advanced than us, perhaps even an ancient culture and what the relationship was like with dreams, like who's to say they weren't using their dreams each and every single night to like travel to other planets, to travel to like other dimensions, like with intention, not just in a space where they're communicating and what they're seeing is just like a hologram or a reflection of their subconscious, but it's like actual conscious entities that are meeting within the dream space, literally using the dream space as like a collective internal internet. Like it's so weird because, you know, we're at this point within reality where suddenly we're moving into virtual reality and the talk of the metaverse. But it's interesting because like the metaverse is like the external version of the internal technology. So everything that we're talking about in virtual technology is actually possible within the internal technology. So as much as people are looking outwards, this is a chance for us to be able to look inwards to be able to access that as well. But again, don't want to get too far off the topic here. Let's just go into whoever would like to be able to share next. And again, just kind of practicing brainstorm. This is a creative exercise. So let your imagination flow. What would an ideal dream scenario flash? Go right ahead. And welcome, Kristen and Lacey.
Yeah, I have to step out in just a moment, but I'll come back later too. So I love these ideas. I'm gonna kind of shift mine. I feel like I actually had an ideal dream just like a week or so ago. And like a very quick share, I was in this room like full of people, like lots of energy. It was this huge auditorium. And there were like lots of like different egos and statuses in there. And then I just, in that moment, was semi-lucid. And I realized I didn't want to be in this space. And so I just stood up and left. And I remember like walking down this hallway and like in my dream, I just felt so tall. And I saw my reflection in this glass and I was like, it was this such an empowering, calming, confident feeling. And I walked out of this building into this beautiful courtyard and there were like a bunch of other people there. So it was like this feeling of like, I was in some sort of metaverse kind of space and I was barefoot and I could feel the earth under my feet. And I heard this music coming from this little, like, almost like a kiosk cart. And so I went over and I just started dancing. And I remember the feeling of spinning in my dreams. Like I've never done ballet, but I got up on one foot. And as I kept spinning, I could feel that momentum. And it was almost like I was generating some sort of energy. And I was just getting right into myself. And this music was just like overwhelming me. And then when I stopped, like there were people laughing, like they did not like how I danced. And in the dream, I was like, I just laughed back. I was like, I don't care. Like, this is me. This is it. Like, and then I walked off into a different space, which then turned into a different dream. But for me, going forward, like that's the ideal that I want to do. I want to tap into that person that generates that energy, that generates that confidence, that has no fear, so that when I wake up, I can tap into that and carry that to do the work that I'm kind of here to do in this physical world. So that's
wow.
Yeah.
That was so cool, Flash. Thank you. And again, that's like sparking ideas for all of us where it's like, and I know people here have had experiences where it's like imagining those dreams where it's like a personal ceremony for you to be able to activate like those inner archetypes, like to activate like your inner high priestess or your inner kind of like whatever it is, to reconnect with that higher self version of who you are. And yeah, and to like feel that in a way where it carries over into the waking state as well. I know even, yeah, there's been like other dreams that have been talked about in pre like I know Lacey's kind of, even we've had like similar discussions where we've kind of had those themes arise. But Flash, that's super beautiful. Thank you so much for sharing. Anyone want to be able to reply to Flash? Again, we can just kind of, we're just chit-chatting here for a bit, and then we can go around with whatever we'd like to be able to share next as well. Kristen, did you want to, are you, yeah, go for it.
Hi everybody. Flash, that was beautiful. I love being able to be inspired by our dreams and taking any kind of wisdom or even just play really into the dream space and into our waking state. So I really love that inspiration, and thank you for sharing. And I like how you also kind of like nonchalantly were just like, yeah, and then I just like jumped off into a different dream. It's fine, like just teleport. But I love teleport dreams. Those are some of my favorites. So yeah, I don't know, Brendon, do you want me to share now or?
Go for it, Kristen. Yeah.
Okay, so I love dreams. I have a really fun relationship with dreams, and I think that this prompt is really beautiful to be able to ask, if you could dream any dream in the world, what would it be? And I think it's a really hard question for me because I try so hard to really live my dream, and so I feel like initially the question led me to like, oh, I would like live my dream life in my dream, like if I could pick. And then I started to think about it, I was like, but that's what I'm doing here. So I think like really for me the most meaningful dreams are whenever I go and I meet like family members that have passed on, or like Brendon mentioned, being able to connect with like star family. I've had a few dreams.
Oh, Kristen, I think the audio and the signal may have dropped there. Hopefully we get Kristen back in a moment. I think there's just a signal issue. And did anybody else just want to jump in real quick with anything else we were talking about or want to be able to share? And then we'll go back to Kristen when we're ready. So yeah, Kelly, go right ahead.
My ideal dream right now is very much just right now, and it's very cheesy. I'd like to be again on a mountaintop, the mountaintop theme tonight, with my best friend under the stars, just talking, because I've been away from her for like 5 years. So real cheesy, just that.
That's beautiful. Sometimes it's like having a dream of like an experience that is a very 3D experience, but something that's meaningful for you, like those, like absolutely, you know, like that's where, again, I think this is a very interesting question, because some people are going to be like, yeah, I want something like super fantastical with portals and fairy realms and everything like that. But then some people are just like, no, I just want to be with someone who I care about, you know, or just be in a presence that's really meaningful for me. Kristen, go right ahead. I know your signal kind of dropped out there, but you're talking there. Go right back to where you were.
Awesome. Brendon, I'm not sure where it dropped out, but I was talking about being able to kind of set up your dreams to be able to connect with past loved ones, or being able to.
Oh no. All right, Chris.
Past lives. Oh. So those are some of my like more, I guess.
It's okay. Okay, yeah, Kristen, we'll try again here, but yeah, past lives. Do you want to just reiterate on that? Like that's because that's super interesting. And I know some people here can probably talk a little bit about that. You know, like I think it's interesting because when you have that intention where it's like, well, why would we want to dream about past lives? You know, like is it just for the like just because it's amazing and fantastical, or are we dreaming about past lives because maybe there's something, there's like a part of ourselves that we want to reintegrate, or there's like a mystery of learning about who we are. And so again, you know, like dreams are the path to know ourselves. And so if there's parts of ourselves that we haven't even met yet, then yeah, it's powerful to think about how dreams can lead us back to those parts. But yeah, Kristen, go ahead. I'd be curious to just hear more about why past lives and why that might be meaningful for others as well.
Absolutely. Past lives for me are a really great opportunity to be able to heal, and also to learn a lot about maybe some of the experiences I'm having. I tend to notice that if I have a pattern that I'm experiencing in my life that I'm really having a struggle like breaking, being able to kind of revisit past lives and understand better why has been a really powerful tool. And so sometimes going back into a past life in a dream can be a really good way to get clarity on a situation or maybe a relationship that you have with somebody. Like sometimes you meet someone and you're just like really connected, or you have like a really intense dynamic and you're like, curious about why you might have this dynamic. And if you can set yourself up in your dream to be able to kind of re-experience that, you might be able to understand why this relationship is coming forward for you in this life, and what you can do to incorporate that into your journey. A lot of that takes work. I will say, like, it definitely for me helps to kind of have a mindset of what past life I'm going into. So in those instances, I've already connected with someone for past life healing, or I've done my own regressions. And so being able to kind of have that direction before you go into the dream space is super helpful for that. But I will say I have gone into some past lives just for fun too. So like there's definitely the ability to just be able to be like, I'm going to go just experience a different life. Sometimes if we have past life experiences that we feel connected to, it's able to kind of just envision that moment of that life so you can let it go and move forward. So I did want to share, I don't know if we were, I don't, is my signal still okay, or am I?
Your signal's okay, and I just want to make sure. I know Candace has to head out shortly. Oh, I think Candace actually. Okay, Candace just had. Well, thank you again, Candace, for joining in. I apologize. Candace actually left before I was able to pass the mic to her there. But yeah, Kristen, go ahead. Continue if you do. You want to get into some dream stories? We'll kind of do that. We'll bounce around a little bit if you're feeling eager.
Yeah, I wanted to share something that you guys had touched on at the beginning of the podcast, and that was about being able to kind of really learn from your dreams and incorporate that. I think Kelly was talking about it, and I actually had a dream recently, and this is like, it's a short story, but it's like got a really good meaning. So I found myself painting one day, and I painted this like really strange little scene. It's maybe kind of a portal-ish thing with a little red door, and I couldn't remember what this was from. I just knew it was from a dream, and so I started journaling and trying to recall bits of the dream, and I remembered being faced with this door and not wanting to walk through it. And so I was like, okay, what's up with this door? Why don't I want to walk through it? Getting really into the details of it. And then I found a dream journal of mine from almost 2 years ago and flipped open to a random page. And on this page was a dream about like this really creepy dream about being in my grandma's basement. And it had been like a sequence of dreams where I was having these like really weird dreams of being in my grandma's basement. And mind you, I have really good memories of being in my grandma's basement, but like for some reason, these dreams just kept happening, and I got called to them while I was going down a rabbit hole trying to figure out what this red door was. And so I set the intention after I had kind of learned all this stuff of like, okay, I'm ready for the red door. Like in tonight's dream space, bring me back to the red door. Let's face this thing. And so I go into the dream space, find myself in a portal at the red door, and I'm like, all right, I'm going to open it. I know what I'm going to do. I opened the door, and I was in my grandma's basement. But I was painting, and I was painting oil paintings with my grandma, which was something I loved to do as a kid. And it was literally just a reminder for me to like call my grandma and talk to her about the beautiful memories that we had growing up together painting. And so it was like this big thing that I turned into this whole like rabbit hole experience. The message was like, be present with the people in your life and remember your memories. So anyways, that was what I wanted to share. I think.
Wow, that was really, really special. Thank you, Kristen. And I think in so many cases, like we often do find that like a lot of the themes within dreams, like the journey maybe is like this complex thing, but then at the end it's like it's leading us back to like love and family and acceptance and truth and all of these different things that kind of mean different things to us based on the people that we know and have relationships with as well. And Kristen, I just wanted to, I'm curious as well, because like in what you were saying there with the idea of like being able to access past lives and dreams, can you maybe just, again, for the people who maybe tune into this, because they may hear you and be like, wait, like what? Like, how do you access past lives within dreams? Because the way how you said it, you made it sound like it was as simple as, oh, I want to do it and I did it, sort of thing. Maybe is there anything else you want to just give? And then again, we'll go from there. And I know, Lacey, I'd love to be able to hear from you on some stuff as well. So yeah, Kristen, just on the past lives, any like tips and tricks there, intentions, what's
Yeah.
worked for you?
Absolutely. So I will say that I am someone who has had a pretty active lucid dreaming since I was a child. And so it's something that I've kind of practiced doing, of being able to set an intention, and especially if it's something that I've been journaling on and thinking about a lot throughout the day. Like, I'll set intentions in the middle of the day, or like randomly I'll think about it and be like, I'll try to place myself to it. And if I really want to have an extra successful dream space, I will actually meditate through the dream before I go into the dream space. So that way, whenever I get there, I can like feel it and connect with it a little bit better. I will say sometimes it's not always like successful. Sometimes it's not always super clear. Writing anything down that you get is always really helpful if you are trying, not giving up, and like also knowing that sometimes it might happen really easily, and then other days it may be harder. So just letting it be whatever it needs to be for you. But yeah, it's definitely something that if you're interested in learning more about, I definitely encourage you to connect with others. You don't have to go through it alone. Like, support is definitely great in that aspect, especially if you're going through past life stuff, because you're more than likely going to bring up some healing. So making sure you have that support with, yeah, just being gentle with yourself.
Awesome. Thank you, Kristen. Anybody else who wants to be able to reply on that? I'm curious if anybody else, we can just maybe just take a branch here into the theme of accessing past lives within dreams, and then we can kind of like loop back around, because I do think like that's super, super fascinating. And again, even just with what Kristen was saying, I think that idea of, you know, what we're talking about here, where it's just like practice flexing your imagination, practice like meditating and accessing what you want that dream to be, while you're still kind of in this conscious state, you know, like kind of like create the details, create the scene, create the textures. And then you can kind of like condition. It's almost like you're like building a video game level in your mind, and then you like re-access it when you go into the dream space as well. But yeah, in terms of be it specifically for past lives, but even just kind of like intentionally like creating a dream scenario or a place prior to going to sleep, and kind of if anybody else has any experience with that, and just kind of bringing that into fruition as well. Does anybody else want to be able to speak on that a little bit? Curious to hear what wisdom we can share. So whoever would like, Lauren, did you want to share anything on that? If so,
I would love to, but
yeah,
I know Lacey hasn't gone yet, and I wanted to hear some stories.
Lacey is super chilled out right now, probably curled up with a dog right next to her. So no pressure on Lacey. So Lacey,
yeah,
you just let us know.
I love the concept of past lives and dreams, so I'd love to touch on it a little bit. It's wild, like what our mind shows us, and a lot of the times when you see something that's like different than normal, or like war, and you see like buildings that are not certain things, that's like your brain signaling to you, this might be a past life that's coming up, and we can access them in dreams. And I also believe hypnosis is one of the best ways, which Kristen does as well, and I do myself. And to understand our past lives, it's all subconscious, right? Our dreams are subconscious, our past lives are subconscious. And this is what's taking up like 80% of our brain power. So bringing more awareness of it and conscious awareness of it is not only what helps more lucidity, but it really just expands our soul. I feel like we know more than this identity, this ego, this person, this whatever we identify with. And then you're going into past lives, and you're just, you know, this whole new culture, and it feels like a part of you, and you're carrying it. And I don't know, through dreams, we can do so much, but it's also just like all subconscious. Like the dreams are subconscious, the seeing houses, like we're astral projecting and like seeing certain houses. You know what's so cool I've been doing lately is like I connect with people, and then in dreams sometimes I visit their house, and like I don't mean to, but like I see it, and I see it from bird's eye, and then I see it from this view, and then I like ask them, like, is this like, I wonder what their house looks like if I'm really traveling there or what I'm doing. But also, yeah, it's just like portals in other dimensions, like other timelines that are in this body now as we're experiencing this DNA. But it's also, yeah, there's just so many, it's like levels to a video game, like you were saying. And the other night I had a dream, and I'm like moving right now, and I'm in Austin, and I'm like all alone, and my parents are like so mad at me. They're like, when are you coming back? When are you coming? Well, yeah. So I had this dream the other day that we were going down all these slides and like these tubes, and like they're all different colors. And my parents are at the top, and I had friends, people I haven't met yet, people I might know, I don't know. But I had the option to choose between which portal to take. And one was like a Christmas Carol card that I would be making. And I didn't know what that meant, but I was really caught between that one, which is red, and then this other one, which is like a green out of the Matrix portal. And the Christmas card one included my family. Oh, I'm gonna cry. And the red one was to go like a different path. It just shows like what's going on now. That was obviously my life, this life, that was I was experiencing and analyzing, but yeah, past lives will come through, and so will these lives, because they're all like intermingled in the decision that you're making based on what is best for hopefully the collective and life and what your mission is. Yeah.
Thank you, Lauren, for sharing. And again, if anybody else wants to reply to anything that anybody else is sharing, again, just go ahead and let me know, because yeah, Lauren, your vulnerability there, again, I think it speaks so loudly to what dreams are giving us as this beautiful, again, like dreams in a scenario like that, like dreams may present us with a hard choice that's in front of us, but it also reflects to us like how deeply we care about certain things within our life. You know, like you would not be having those dreams if it wasn't for the fact that you so deeply loved the people that we are dreaming about and the scenarios that we are dreaming about. So yeah, just sending you so much love, and I know whatever choice any of us makes will be meaningful, and each choice is again just going to lead us closer to where we need to be. And sometimes that may not necessarily physically be where we want to be, but things have a way of coming around again. So yeah. Did anybody else want to reply to anything that Lauren was sharing there? And Lauren, thank you again for your wisdom. Guys, go give Lauren lots of love right now. If you guys can kind of do that.
Thanks for holding space for that. The Kriggles are coming out now. The crying and giggling.
Oh, the Kriggles. If anybody else wanted to be able to reply on anything that Lauren was sharing, and again, even just kind of going back on original branch there where we were talking about like past lives, and if anybody wants to share any experiences of past lives within dream practices, or even any intention setting to be able to access past lives within dreams, I'd be fascinated to be able to hear a little bit more about that. So if anybody would like to be able to share. And I can say like my experience with past lives, I'm definitely open to it. It's hard for me to say 100% like what, I don't have stories off the top of my head that I would totally associate. I've had a lot of stories of being in battles and war and stuff like that. Whether that was past life, I don't know for sure, but that's where like I'm kind of hesitant to kind of like say, oh, that 100% was, because I know there are like some people that have past lives and they like know in their heart, they're like, no, that was definitely a past life, or maybe even a future life. Lacey, I saw you doing a thing. Were you putting your hand up? Is that what that was? All right, let's welcome Lacey to the circle. I'm sure Lacey can say a thing or two about this topic. So we'll keep going here, and then we'll get close to wrapping it up by about 10, and we'll keep it short and sweet tonight. So Lacey, what would you like to say on this topic? Welcome.
Yeah, I could say a lot on past lives. I think for me personally, like when it comes to dream time and accessing those, I guess, like files, the codes inside my own DNA or my memory or whatever, I don't necessarily have the ability to just be like, I'm going to go back to, like 16th century Scotland or something like that. And it just happens. For me, I think it definitely is up for the universe to decide whether or not I'm going to access those files and what I'm going to gain from them. So I think doing the work in other areas of dream time will help you access those spaces maybe a little bit more freely, because there's all sorts of good and bad that comes with that, right? Like, and I think Kristen talked about that, like healing parts of our past. And I know Brendon said like, oh, he's had dreams where he was like, where he thought maybe it was a past life where he was in the war. And I've actually dreamt where we were both in the war together. In a few different lifetimes, me and Brendon, where he either didn't come home or, it just never worked out, So but to me, I knew like in my heart, I think it's an intuitive thing. You just feel it and you know that you're like accessing that like distant life or something. And I've had many, I know I told Brendon about, I think it was like my most recent past life. I lived in, I think it was like the 1940s, right before the war, in England. And I was actually studying to become a doctor of some kind. And I have accessed that part of my past life, not in like full detail. I know I was young and I was like one of the only females to be, because I know I researched it after I had the past life dreams about it, about women doctors back in that time. And it wasn't as common. And so a lot of women that were actually, they weren't like documented because they didn't take women as seriously in that position at that time. But I was studying to become a doctor, and it was funny, some of the interactions I had with the other students and stuff. And I just remember studying and remember just being very excited about where that was going to take me. And it's curious because you're like, who was that person? And it's weird because I'm going off on a tangent, but I don't know if anyone else notices, the parts of our past lives bleed into our present life. So even things that I'm interested in since a young girl, still like I still carry whoever that person was in some form. Like she's still there, and it's very fascinating. But that's only one. Like they go back pretty far. I've accessed like pretty ancient ones as well, but that was probably the most recent one. But like I said, I think it's really, you just have to open up your heart and know and do the work in other areas and hope that that memory will come to you. With all things, you don't want to force it and you don't want to like, so that's just my advice with that. But yeah.
That's awesome.
That's all I'll say on that. But
That's plenty. And again, it's interesting just hearing Lacey talk about it, because like even just as we're talking about it, I feel like, and I guess we already knew this, but it's just fun to just be able to reiterate, especially for those who may be kind of getting new into the fascination with dreams, where even what Lacey was saying, where it's like, we're talking about past lives. She referred to it as like accessing files. So it's like this idea that, you know, like as a physical vessel, not even just a physical vessel, but as like a spiritual multidimensional vessel, our body carries information. Like this is a scientific thing, but it's much more multidimensional than we realize. So it's like this idea that, you know, like these other lifetimes that we've experienced, like that those files, that information is inside of us. And then again, it's like through dreams, like that's like the mainframe to be able to access that information. So I think in a lot of ways, you know, instead of just like saying like, oh, like I hope I dream about past lives, I think a part of it is intuitively knowing that that information is already inside of us. It's in our DNA, it's in our energetic body, whatever the case may be. And then again, it's just kind of like intuitively being able to do the other work that helps clear the path to bring it up and onto the projection screen for us to be able to experience it. But even still, it's kind of trippy because it's like, even if we don't have full conscious recall of what that information is, we can know that within our soul, like we've already experienced it, or in some way we can like feel the experience of it. And for me, like that's where like for a lot of like my past lives, I don't know for certain what my past lives are, but I can feel them. Like I can feel them, but I don't know like all the specific details, if that makes sense. But I'm fascinated by it. And that's where even for me, within my dream practice, knowing that there's still like so much to explore, there's so many doors that I haven't fully opened yet, that actually inspires me to want to be able to move a little bit forward in my dream practice. And that's where having a community and having other people say like, oh, like, well, like I've done that. Like it is possible, means that it's possible for any of us, which is super fascinating. And again, I think when we look at the dream stuff, it's good to be able to approach it, not just purely for the sake of being fascinated by it or being entertained by it, but to do it with a deeper intention, to be able to say like, this is so that I kind of like what I said, meet more of myself, to integrate, to become more whole, to expand our awareness of who we are across the multiple dimensions of this experience that we call life, which is again, not just this one lifetime alone. So therefore, again, dreams are this doorway to the multidimensional understanding of who we are. It's fascinating. Does anybody else want to be able to add into that? Kristen, go right ahead. And thank you, Lacey. You look cozy though.
Lacey, you do look super cozy, by the way. I don't know if this is like a frog or a pillow or something, but
oh, that's a panda. That's what that is. That's a panda right there. Yeah.
It's adorable. But yeah, no, I wanted to say too, if you ever wake up from a dream where you feel like you lived another life, that's like one of the, like whenever you wake up and you feel really disoriented and you're like, wow, I feel like I just lived something else. That's like one of the key things to be like, oh, that could be a past life, could be, because it could be other things. But that's like one of the cues for me I wanted to share. And then one of the other things I wanted to share too is that in my past life dreams that I've had, I'm not the same as. It can be really hard because one of my favorite dreams was actually like during slavery times, and I was an African American female who was like going through the process of gaining her freedom from slavery. And it was a really interesting dream to experience because it was very tragic, and it was just something to keep in mind, that if you do connect with past life dreams and you go through, to just be aware that you're not going to look the same as you do in this life, and you will make separate decisions. And like that's for me been the part that's been, I think, one of the most healing, is to be able to see myself make decisions that I would never see myself making in this lifetime, and still being able to learn those lessons. But yeah, that's I think the one other thing I wanted to share was just like, yeah, like you're not going to look the same, and to try to not question it. Like if you feel like it could be related to a past life, lean into your curiosity with it. Like start journaling about it, get creative, like just play, I guess, is a good place to start. So
Beautiful. Thank you, Kristen. Yeah, and again, it's interesting because like sometimes we'll go through experiences in past lives where, and I'm sure someone else could talk more about this, where it's just kind of like you're the passenger. like you're just kind of like you're watching a movie, even though it's kind of like in first person perspective. And again, I think that's such a key theme with what Kristen was saying, where, you know, a big part of the purpose of dreams is to be able to experience ourselves making those powerful choices, whatever the choice may be, and then to be able to reflect on that from like our, it's weird because like, don't you guys find that peculiar how like within dreams it's like we're always perceiving, for the most part, maybe I'm wrong in this, but we're mostly perceiving dreams from this conscious understanding of who we are. Like it's like sometimes you can go into a dream and it's like you're fully that person in the 13th century or something like that. But then sometimes it's like, no, I'm still 21st century Brendon perceiving through the eyelids of 13th century Brendon, and I'm like critiquing it and I'm observing it, and it's kind of like this, like you're like the in the movie seat watching the scenario unfold kind of thing. Yeah, it's super fascinating. Anybody else have any insight on that? I know we want to be able to get into a little bit of dream recall sharing as well, and I'll just plug it again real quick. For anybody here, I would love for you guys to be able to join and contribute to the dream log recall thread that I've created on the Ibble app. You guys are going to keep hearing me talk about Ibble. I'm working with them to be able to help bring more conscious community to the app. I can't think of anybody better than the people that we've built through the Paradigm Shift community, and I've created a thread there for a place to be able to upload short videos, 1 minute, 2 minute videos of us sharing dream recall to create a little bit more accountability. Again, I'm just going to plug it here one last time before the broadcast ends. The Ibble app is linked into this info of this YouTube video. It's also in my profile link on TikTok and on Instagram. You can follow my referral link, download there, follow me at Mystic Spider-Man, and feel free to join me in creating a little bit of accountability where I'll be sharing my dream logs to the Ibble app there as well. And again, for those of you who are conscious creators, there's some awesome opportunity for you guys there to be able to develop more relationship with the Ibble team, and also to be able to earn some additional income on the side. So if you guys are interested in that, I'll talk to you guys more about it. But anyways, check out the Ibble app, join my dream recall thread. But going back to what I was saying with the kind of like the past lives, does anybody else want to be able to talk a little bit more about past lives in dream recall and everything like that? And then otherwise, if there's any stories that we want to be able to get into before we get close to wrapping up the broadcast. So past lives topic, anything else anybody want to be able to share on that? Or even again, like even with that, it's like future lives is another thing too, right? Like it goes both ways, right? So it's like dreams, it's like, are you time traveling in dreams, or is it like you're just again, kind of, it's weird because kind of what Lacey said kind of sparked my mind. It's like, wait, is that time travel, or is it from the present moment where we're accessing the files that are the recreation of that period of time? Are we actually going back to the 13th century, or are we always in the present moment, but we're accessing the file, which is a depiction of the 13th century? Slightly different, but very interesting to kind of like fathom the comprehension of that. So are we ever not in the present moment sort of thing, you know, kind of so to speak? Anyways, my paradigms are shifting. What do you guys want to say? Lacey, do you want to say something before I stumble over my words a little bit more? Go for it, Lacey. Thanks.
Sure. No, I think that's a great way of putting it. I guess it's up for, you know, debate, interpretation, whoever, it's a personal thing. But for me, I definitely think past is like, yeah, like you're accessing a memory, I guess. So you're just remembering. But it's like really cool because now you can like live it out again. And maybe that's why sometimes we might feel like a passenger, because we're not able to really necessarily change the nature of the past that may have like a life that we had lived. And I know for me personally, with when I know it's a past life, it's because I'm just along for the ride. I'm just kind of observing and kind of witnessing who I was. It's also very fascinating, like, because I did talk about how me and you, I believe that we shared past lives together. And it was interesting when I accessed dream time, like past life stuff. And then I'm like, whoa, that's Brendon, even though it's not you. So that's what's really cool. Like, it might not look like you. You might be a woman. You know what I mean? Like, you might be someone completely different, but it's still your soul, like, signature. Anyways, I'm going off. But I think they're just like one of the most fascinating aspects of Dreamtime that we can explore. So I'm glad that we sparked this conversation, whoever did, I don't know. But I'm excited to try to open myself up to more of what that means for me. I do feel like we have soul families and we're connected to people in a very like intimate way, not only in this lifetime, but multiple. So it's like exciting when you're like having children and you're like, do I know them from before? And it's cool. Dreams are like this high tech tool. It's like, let's do this. Like there's so much you can do, which I'm going to share a couple of cool dreams. Excuse me, I'm laying down. A couple of cool dreams that I've had in the past couple weeks. So, which aren't about past lives, but they're about, I guess, manifestation and setting intention, what setting intentions does and what it shows you in dream time. And I don't know if I'm wording that right, but there's some cool themes there. So I'm excited to share that after. Couple cool ones.
Well, thank you, Lacey. And yeah, we can move into the part where if anybody else has any dream stories that they want to be able to share, we've covered a lot of ground here within tonight's discussion. Again, there was that prompt that we originally branched off when we were talking about the past lives, which was inviting us to imagine, and this was a question, if you could, something along those lines, if you could imagine if you could choose an ideal dream that you want to dream right now, what would that look like, and what would that feel like, and just kind of tell it to yourself as if you're writing a story, as if you're watching a movie. What would that movie story be? If anybody else did want to be able to share from that, because I know we like Kristen shared, I kind of shared, but right now it's just Kelly and Lacey, and Flash might be in the background. It's just a small group of us left. But yeah, Lacey, I think you were kind of tuned in as we were doing that. But Lacey, do you want to share, and then we'll get into, and then Kelly, if you want to share, and then we'll get into, or Kelly, you already shared, so I guess just Lacey, and then we'll get into the dream stories as well. So yeah, Lacey, if you could imagine an ideal dream from your heart, and again, knowing that there could be 100 different answers for this, but what would be one answer just from where you are right now?
That's a really, really cool question. And I'm going to I haven't thought about it, so I'll just, I guess, say it from my heart. If I could dream anything tonight, let's just say, and my dreams have been just absolutely bizarre, a world not typical for Lacey the past little while. A lot of, I think, stagnant energy has been surfacing for me in dream time. But so I guess for me, the biggest thing for me would be, I really, really enjoy when I can dream as little Lacey. So I guess maybe go back to some childhood places that were my favorite. That would be really, really cool. Just, I guess, yeah, with my siblings, all my siblings, and just when we were kids, we loved to go. We were big explorers, and we spent a lot of our time in the forest. And we used to build all sorts of crazy stuff. We were very feral children. We were pretty wild. So I think I would like to access that feeling again of that childlike wonder, of that freedom, of just being completely just the purest Lacey, I guess, unfiltered, no, crazy noise from the world, and using my imagination out in the woods and yeah, down by the creek. Yeah, that'd be cool. That'd be fun.
That's very special to hear, Lacey. And just as you're imagining this, so basically kind of imagining it where it's very much this 3D reality, but you're just in that version of a past, and maybe it's the same, maybe it's a little bit different, but nothing even too fantastical, eh? That would be, I mean, and I think that's pretty beautiful, because again, it's my answer was just oh, I want to meet aliens and travel to an astral city and stuff like that. But I do think, again, it's just that answer where it's just no, like dreams are a nostalgia machine, you know, like they give us a chance to reconnect with those parts of ourselves that maybe we can't access. Like that the past is gone, but is it truly gone? Maybe we can access the files through the dream space, which again, I know for some people, it's just like, if you were trying to sell dreams to people, it's just be like, oh, like, you know, those like memories that you hold on to so dearly in your heart. What if you could access them again and live them as a vivid experience, as equally as real as this one? It's amazing to know that is possible. And you've had experience, you've had dreams like that already, I assume. Like that's kind of where you're basing that off of, like, because you said you already had the dreams of the little Lacey and stuff. And
I've definitely experienced young me, not necessarily memories, because I did have a hard childhood. But it's interesting, like in the midst of the I guess darkness of my younger life, there's these moments that I can kind of like access, like even being awake. Like I don't necessarily need to be asleep to like remember who I was outside of the chaos of my home life. And so I think for me, like me saying, oh, I want to go back to that, like that wild version of me, that part of me that didn't have a care in the world. You know what I mean? It's not necessarily a memory. It would just be the feeling, I think, that I'm trying to access. And I know in dream time, I've come face to face with little me. Like I've literally been outside myself, looking back at myself, having a conversation with her. And it's just so, so sweet. You get to see yourself in a new way, I think, and get to nurture your child self like you're the mother. But I would also be cool to be her and just kind of be free, like I said, in a way that's just like hard to access as an adult. Not that I can't. I get to a lot through my own children. And that's what's beautiful about being a parent, is that you get to see yourself through your children and get to do the things that maybe you didn't get to do as a kid. But I don't know, that's just where my heart went. I just was like, yeah, it'd be cool to be little Lacey and just be free and happy and covered in mud and barefoot and in the woods. That'd be great. And I had like a crazy vivid imagination. Like I was very a very playful child, very easy to create up whole like fantastical things in my mind. And as much as I'm like, oh, like I want to like go to space and explore the cosmos, I've had a lot of experience doing that stuff. Sometimes the simplest things can lead us to those things. So I think they're both interconnected. So if I were to access my child self, maybe I would have an easier doorway to, say, meet with my celestial family or anything else that comes after that. So that's just how I feel about it. But yeah.
No, that's really special. Very, very relatable. And again, I just love being able to hear you share from your heart on that topic. And it's interesting because my brain was just, I'm just like, like Lacey dreaming of young Lacey here from this moment. I'm just like, was little Lacey dreaming of future Lacey from her moments? And
oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
I actually remember being
quick story.
A young me, not necessary story, but like remember my thoughts as a young child. And I was curious who I would be as an adult. Obviously, I think most kids are. But it was like, because I was a dreamer as a young girl as well and started to record them fairly young. And I would have dreams of myself as an adult. And so it's cool to see I'm very much the same person. I can't say that I've like drastically changed. She's still very much a part of me. So yeah. very much. Yeah.
Does anybody else, just on that topic, does anybody else have, and again, I know this is a bit of a stretch, memory of younger them dreaming of their future self? Because again, it's like, it's interesting because like with dreams, again, it opens up this idea where it's like we get to like be our own guide through this kind of like non-temporal loop where it's like, imagine it's like you have a dream where a future version of yourself comes back and like gives you some sort of piece of advice. And then eventually 30 years later, you are that future version of you coming back and creating the advice. And it's like this, a Mobius temporal loop that kind of just folds in on itself or something like that. I don't know. As crazy and sci-fi as that sounds, like to me, it's just like, man, like that feels like it's actually a natural part of the human experience where we actually do get to kind of, because it's interesting because it's like, yes, there's a sequence that connects that version of ourselves to who we are now. But in some way or another, if we're looking at each part of ourselves as an individual within the specific time that they exist, it's like that is a person, like that is a being, and this is a being, like the being of who we are in the past and the being of who we are in the future. Like those are two separate entities that could theoretically come face to face and talk to each other in some multidimensional sense of like what we're opening up into when you start expanding your consciousness in that direction. It's just interesting because my brain just starts like putting that together, and it was really interesting. And this is kind of like a side branch, but like over the Christmas holiday, my parents, they like gave me a hard drive with like footage of like camcorder footage from my childhood that my parents filmed. So there's like footage that I had never seen before of like raw footage of like family trips and Christmas and me in the backyard of like me as like a 5-year-old, 6-year-old kid. And I'm like, and I have never seen this. I had never heard my voice in a way where like suddenly here I am as a 34-year-old hearing my voice as a 4-year-old. And I'm just like looking, I'm just like, whoa, like it's like it was like an out of body experience. And it felt very dreamlike. And as I was watching it, I could like, it was like triggering something in my DNA where I'm like, I remember that. Like, I remember not even just like, oh, I remember that specific day, but it's like, I kind of like what Lacey was saying. It's like, I remember like the feeling. I remember like this kind of like presence of the energy of being in this space. Because it's interesting, you know, for a lot of us, like our memories, it's different from person to person. But for some people, it's just like, man, like I don't remember much of my childhood. Like I know it happened, but I don't fully remember it. And then some people are like, actually, I do fully remember it. But again, I know I kind of sidetracked there, but yeah, it's just fascinating to think about the idea of how dreams are the portal for us to kind of like guide ourselves through space and time. And right now, you know, like it would even be interesting just as a thought exercise for any of us to just put forth that intention. Say we're putting intentions into our dream space. It's like, imagine putting forth the intention to be able to like meet your future self from where you are now. What does old Brendon have to say to present Brendon? Can that happen? What if I actually seek that advice? What if I seek that connection? Be like, you know, like I would love to be able to receive the wisdom from that part of myself as if it is almost another being, even though it is still me, sort of thing. Very, very interesting. Again, I know we're getting close to wrapping it up here. I don't want to get too far off topic, and there's just a couple of us here left in the chat. Does anybody else, anything that spark any ideas or anything like that? And then Lacey will get into some quick stories, and then we'll be done for the day. So I don't know if anybody had anything to share on anything else that I just mentioned. Maybe I'm just crazy. I don't know. Maybe you guys tell me. Dreams, man. Dreams like they can open up some new doors, man. So
no, I like what you're saying. I think it's possible to access perhaps wisdom from our future selves, and we know it is possible. I mean, I've done it in dream time, so I think, yeah, if you set that intention and you want to, however it's received, I'm not sure how it would come through for you, like whether or not you would actually meet, say, old elderly Brendon, or if it would like manifest in symbolism or in a message or through something else, you know what I mean? So, but that would be really, really cool. And I think that we're always receiving, I guess, wisdom from the future. And I think that it might not, unless you have to listen, I guess. So just like, if you're listening, then you'll receive it. Yeah. That's just my thought on it. Not to say that that's like exactly how it would be, but I think, you know, as long as you're open to it. Hi.
very true, very true. Winnie waking up finally. So yes.
She was yeah, now she's back.
I know she's sleep over there. But yeah, it was interesting because even just like us having this talk, you know, like I can feel kind of like my brain kind of connecting new ideas where I do like And I saw Rising Starseed in the chat kind of it mimic this, where they're like, oh, I like the ideas of files, where it's like, for me, it's like, if we're trying to think of a metaphor for dreams, like think of dreaming, again, very akin to technology, where it's like, okay, it's like you're going into dream. Like imagine you're like sitting in front of a computer, much like how you are right now. And on that computer, you can access files. You can go into the past, you can go into the future. So, you know, like from there, what you're doing as a dreamer is you're getting good at navigating the device, navigating the computer, navigating the mainframe, navigating the software. And then with that, just like the internet, you can access these other realms. You can go, again, from a computer, you can play video games online. You can go to all of these different dimensions and realms. So all the technology that we see within us, like it's a fractal in a mirror of this divine technology that's already inside of us. So I think for some of us, if we were to just kind of open ourselves up to that vision of trying to conceptualize what dreams are, think of them as, again, it's like you're the person showing up on a computer and you have the ability to be able to get good at like accessing the different files and accessing it. And then as you do, it's like putting you into the experience as well. And again, kind of going back to what I was saying before, it's like, you know, if you're on a computer and you open up a file that's a video from 10 years ago, are you traveling back in time? Not necessarily, but you can watch the experience of 10 years ago as a present moment from this moment, which kind of creates like a new moment as well. So it's kind of like this compound, like Fibonacci sequence, where it's like the past is experienced within the present, which creates like a new version of the perspective of the past in the present moment, which creates a new experience or something like that. It's trippy, man. It gets really, really trippy. But at the end of the day, again, I think dreams are I think of them as like divine technology. Like I think of them as like something, like whatever, like it's crazy, man. Like there's something else bigger that we are a part of, where we as humans have this ability to be able to access this technology inwards that gives us access to like the infinite landscape of the natural innerverse, not just the metaverse, but the innerverse. So, but anyways, come back from my TED Talk another day. Let's get close to wrapping this up. Kelly, did you want to say anything before we pass over to Lacey, just for some closing short story, some dream stories, and then we can. I guess I had a dream story, but I think I already shared it. I forget. Kelly, did you want to say anything on anything in this?
Yeah, I have a real quick one. I think it was Flash that said about being scared in the lucid dream, which is a real thing, and having dreams about my grandma helped me to not be scared in the lucid dreams. At first, I was like, oh my gosh, I'm in a dream. That's my grandma. She's not alive anymore. Oh no, I'm scared I'm going to get trapped in the dream. Let me bounce out. And then I was like, okay, don't be scared. This is an opportunity to be around her again. And then eventually I was chill with it. So that's just one of those things where a lot of people get scared and they bounce out, and then you get over your fear and then you can really enjoy it.
Absolutely. Yeah. Like that's a whole, again, like a big thing within the dreams is like being able to kind of like center ourselves. So that, you know, dreams can be like quite jarring. And I think, again, kind of like a meditation where it kind of reminds me of a psychedelic experience where, you know, you're kind of going along with the trip. And then if you kind of like let yourself kind of get like swept away and you're just like, you'd be like, oh man, I'm kind of losing control. But then you try and resist it. And then it creates like even more chaos and stuff like that. But if you can kind of like return yourself back to center, then it's just kind of like, okay. And then that allows you to be able to like perceive it through a clear lens to the best of your ability, so to speak. Dreams are a psychedelic experience, 100%. But I think, you know, just that's where meditation and breath work and centering ourselves and being able to just like find that inner lotus is very helpful within dream practices as well. Thank you, Kelly, for that. Quick dream recall story from last night. I already shared a little. Did I share all of it? I just shared a little bit of it earlier, but again, I also posted about it in my Ibble dream log thread. And Nadine, add a response to my Ibble dream log thread. I know you're on Ibble already, but anyways, the dream that I had last night, the reason why I wanted to be able to share it is because I actually did get like semi-lucid. And again, for me, like lucidity isn't a super common thing for me, though, as I say that, obviously I'm speaking it into existence, but I hope my intention is for it to be more common. But last night, This is kind of a subgenre of things in itself. My like cat was sleeping next to me, like Shay, like she just got spayed and stuff. Like she was either on me or next to me. And I don't know if that actually affected my dreams, but it was definitely like keeping me somewhat awake. So I was in kind of like this hypnagogic state throughout the night where I was like kind of asleep, kind of awake. And I think as I was waking up and falling asleep, I was kind of coming and going out of the dream. And in the dream, I do remember there was like this whole scenario where Lacey was hosting a party, which is like such a sad thing to do and stuff like that. And it was like really fun and everything. All sorts of stuff was like happening at the party. There was highs, there was lows, and all like the reflection of the internal dynamics of the human spirit. But then the one thing that I did remember was like the sensation of floatingness, of lightness. Like I do remember in some parts of my dream where I was like so close to like kind of becoming lucid, and maybe it doesn't sound like such a big deal and it's not the most fascinating story, but for me just to be able to share it, where I'm just like, man, like the sensation that I felt, that for me is what I remember, like that where I was just like, it's just like, okay, like I am clearly like floating right now. And I was like kind of navigating myself and I was like, whoa, sort of thing. So anyways, it wasn't a super huge long story, but I just wanted to be able to add that to the book, and just to say that that's something that happened for me, and I'm putting the intention to be able to have that happen a little bit more. Oh, and I also want to dream about Animal Crossing. I want to go visit our town in Animal Crossing in my dream space. You guys should play Animal Crossing. Anyways, we'll get to that later. Let's move on to more dream stories. Lacey, do you want to share some dream stories, and then we'll be wrapped up here for tonight? And thank you again to those of you on YouTube. I know a few people just joined us late, so happy to be able to have you here, and we'll get close to wrapping it up in the next little bit. Lacey, you got a couple dream stories you want to share?
Yeah, sure. So they're not super long, because like I said earlier, my dreams, I've been super busy in my dream time, but most of it has been like, so what's the word, like lost in translation, I guess, like just very bizarre conversations and people, and like just not what how I typically dream. So it's hard for me to actually write those ones out, and I feel like that's actually how I think a lot of people might dream, where it's just like so much noise and it's hard to like find like a point of light and like focus on that and then follow that through. For me, usually it's like a consistency where I'm like, I'm in this story is unfolding, and I'm a part of it, and I'm writing down all the details of this particular story. But lately it feels like there's like 20 stories overlapping, and it's like like it's like too much for my brain to handle, as I'm a very sleepy pregnant lady. So, but I've had a couple really potent, powerful, transformative type of dreams. The first one I'll share, which I did tell you about, Brendon, and I did share on my Instagram, just briefly in a story, but I figured I'd share here because before I had the dream, I had set the intention, just like during the day, like I was like kind of reciting these mantras inside my mind. I was still at work, we're living through a pandemic, whatever, all this crazy stuff going on in the world. And I feel that the world is quite noisy and the energies are so intense. And I'm a very sensitive person and I absorb stuff. Unfortunately, even after 31 years on this planet, still have a hard time keeping my gates shut to that outside energy. So, during the day, I'm just leading up to the dream because it has a lot to do with what I did during the day. I was really just like, doing these mantras of like wanting to elevate my energetic body and protect myself, almost create like a force field or a shield around my body in order to protect myself from these energies, as well as like illness or whatever, So I was just like vibing with that all day that day. So I went to sleep that night, and in the dream, it was very, just simple. I'm walking into a temple, and there's a huge window behind me, or like behind, like in front of me, and there's kind of like this platform, and then there's a man standing on the platform, and it kind of seems kind of cathedral like, but not entirely. The whole space around me is like white but blurred, so you can't actually like make out any type of structure other than the platform and then the window that's beyond the man. There's a lot of light flooding in through the window. As I approach the man, I know instantly in my heart that he is an archangel. And I've met archangels, I think, a handful of times in dream time throughout my dream. I don't know how to explain, my whole time journaling since I was a child. So I've met them many times, and there's always been different ones. I've never met this one particularly. So this was really fascinating and cool that I was meeting him. So I came up to him and I realized that it was Archangel Metatron, and he didn't say anything to me. Like, he didn't speak any words, but I approached him, and kind of like, as I was approaching him, he absorbed my like astral body into his body, and now I was inside of him, and he started to create this energetic Metatron's cube that will like pulsate outwards, that kind of it's hard to explain it, but like it completely like encompassed us. And like I was inside of him, but then I also was able to see that he was healing, like he was protecting and healing every part of my astral like energy, like this physical realm, like then the realm out, like the dimensional spaces that my body travels to. Like he was healing every part of my energetic body. Is the only way I can explain it. And I was able to see the various me's kind of splayed out behind him or like above him, so it kind of like boom 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 boom, and they kind of like moved upwards. And then the Metatron's cube was like doing the work, like doing whatever the hell it was doing. And I was just like, what the heck? And it was like really intense feeling. It wasn't painful or scary necessarily, but I was just like, just kind of like, okay, this is happening. And then that's it. That's all I remember. But I woke up and I was like, holy shit, like, what was that about? But I know that like I was doing the same work like during the day, and then it like, and I think unconsciously, but not like, I think I was asking for guidance and for like help, and he came to me. So like that was just like super super cool and fascinating. And I never come in contact with this particular celestial being before, so it was a very powerful dream, and I'm super grateful that I got to feel that and experience it. So like when you're seeking healing, I think that dream time can be really really great for that. There's another one, just a quick one, that also has to do with healing, I think. Another like transformation that took place, and this was not too long ago, like maybe like a week and a half ago, I think. I'm not sure. But in the dream, it was also a temple, another temple. This is a big theme for me right now. But in this time, the temple was crumbling. And as I was moving through the door, I was moving very fast. And I was moving as if I was just a spirit, like I wasn't a physical body. And so as I moved into the space, I looked around me, and there was like this old temple, it was like old stone. And I could see the cracks in all of the, it was dark, but I could see that it was falling apart. And at the center of the temple was this black orb. And it was quite large, like it was huge. And it was swirling with like this dark, dark energy. And as I entered into the space, I now was like outside myself, which I tend to do a lot. Like I'm not only inside, but I'm outside. And I'm sure a lot of other dreamers experience that very weird third person perspective. But I exited and I could see that I was actually a dragon, but this dragon was like a Japanese dragon, I think. Like it was like with the long tails. Like it wasn't like, I don't know, there's like different types, but I float around like almost like I was an eel, like a giant eel. And I like flew around the room and I was inside this dragon still. And I'm going really fast. And then I started to go around this orb and I was spinning really quickly, like heating it up almost. And then I sucked all this black energy out of the orb and then like it went inside of me and then I like spewed it out of my mouth like fire, you know, like just like billowing fire was just like just all over the room, just filling the room. And I was like, and that's all I remember. Like I don't remember being a human. It was just like this very visceral dragon symbolic, right? Like when you think about this black orb, this crumbling temple, fire, which is like a purifier, right? Like you fire, it can destroy, but it also purifies. So both those dreams were kind of showing me that there's this deep healing taking place, not only on this plane, but I think in the higher dimensional spaces as well for me. And I am going through a great transformation, and these dreams are probably going to come to me more before I, take the next step in my, who's Lacey going to be in the next couple months, So it was very cool and fascinating and fun to experience those very psychedelic and trippy little dream blurbs. So I'm not sure if anyone else dreams like that, but if they have any stories like that, would be super cool to hear about them because I find them really fascinating. So yeah, I just wanted to share those are like deep healing dreams. So
awesome. Thank you, Lacey, so much. And Kelly, did you want to reply to anything that Lacey said? If there's anything there that related to you or anything? Cool. So yeah, and one of the things I'll just share here, and we'll just kind of chit chat for a bit, and then we'll get close to wrapping it up. Especially like even with the Metatron dream, the thing that kind of came to me that is interesting and is, when you have a dream like that, there's also kind of like this knowing that within dreams, it kind of gives us a chance to be able to see what's happening behind the scenes, even when we're in this 3D plane. So it's kind of like this idea that it's like, you had this experience where like Metatron is like working with you. And then it's also kind of this idea that when you wake up, you kind of carry with you this knowing to hold in your heart that like, even now in this moment, like that love that Metatron had for you within the dream is still with you. Like his energy, like his presence is like still kind of like supporting us here within this dream. That's the thing that's kind of fascinating with dreams, where, we'll go into these spaces where like the most fantastical things will happen. We'll connect with angels, we'll connect with deities, we'll connect with like deep healing ceremony and ritual and temples and soul expanding, visions and everything like that. And then we wake up and then it's just kind of like, oh, like back to this reality. Did that even happen? And we kind of create this narrative where it's easy to just be like, oh, like suddenly the space between the dream experience and this reality becomes, there's a nice distance between them. And it kind of, we kind of like forget like, that they're so actually still very much overlapping. And so it's like what happens in the dream is actually still like running as like a program in the background of our experience right here and now. To me, that was kind of the thing that kind of came to mind. So it's like what you had experienced with you with Metatron, now that it happened once, it's like it's always kind of like carrying with you as you continue to move forward. What do you think about that? Like, do you kind of carry a similar perspective or something similar?
Well, yeah, of course. I would say that, being able to interpret my own dreams and understand the meaning behind them, knowing that I am continuing to do the work on some level. And I think in the astral, I'm always kind of doing the work. And that is indirectly affecting me in this plane as well. So yeah, of course. I mean, if I looked at those dreams and didn't see how absolutely incredible they were and how they are present with me currently, yeah, but that's not the case. So yeah, they're both really, really potent, important dreams. Even though they were like, not very long or like say overly detailed, they carry this wisdom and this knowledge and this, this deeper understanding that things are so much more than what we think they are. And we are also capable of our own healing every day. So it's like how you choose to see things, I think, and how you want to transform those things. For example, like with the dragon, there's a lot of different ways you could interpret that, right? But for me, it's showing me that, like, no matter what happens in my daily life, whether those be challenging or uncertain, I still have like this power to transform that. And it showed me my power, right? So that dream is just a reflection of the power I already carry. So yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know if I answered you, but yeah.
Well, I mean, it's not even just an answer. It's more just, again, just kind of like chatting about it. Cause, and then even like with the one of like the dragon, which it was interesting because you said it was like, oh, it was like very like eel-like. And I know that the eel theme that's shown up before. And
yeah,
that's
it's
like
a big one for me.
Symbol. Yeah. So like it's like a part of you is that eel. Like you because what is it that we talked about before? Like
I mean, it was a dragon. It wasn't an eel.
it was
but I
yeah, it was a dragon, very eel-like.
Yeah.
And it's like maybe the eel is also the dragon because the eel is like the shapeshifter sort of thing.
Yeah, they're technically both like
kind of linked.
I don't know if they're linked mythically at all, but like I know for the eel in a lot of cultures, it is like this type of creature that is known for its shape-shifting abilities and its ability to like withstand a lot. And like, so when I've been an eel, I've been like an eel in dream time before. That's been one of my shape-shifting animals. And yeah, I just know that this particular dragon, it was flying, but it reminded me of the dragons from like more like Japanese or Chinese lore versus like, the dragons that we see in like, say, Lord of the Rings or something, like was less reptilian and more like a spirit. I don't know.
Yeah.
Spirit eel dragon.
Yeah, because I think of like the couple examples from like the movie like Spirited Away and like the
very
boy
much
who
like
transforms, that type of dragon, or even in Breath of the Wild, there's like those type of dragons and they're just kind of like floating around sort of thing and everything like that.
Yeah, it's very much like that dragon, and it was a dark color, like it was a dark purple, almost black, but yeah.
Cool.
Very cool. Feathery almost.
Yeah. Very cool. I'm sure we could find some pictures in like ancient Chinese mythology of like the dragons, and you'd be like, that was it. That was me.
I'd love to look that up. Yeah, because
we should. It'll be right next to the what was the other one? Like that other like deer, horse, deer, lion, the thing. What was the other one we dreamt about? You dreamt about that other like
the quillin.
The quillin. Yeah. So lots there. So
and
there's
on
more.
the topic of mythical creatures, like since I became pregnant, I want to share this. I've dreamt of the like six-tailed fox or whatever.
Oh yeah.
What the hell that thing's called? I don't even know. I looked it up, but I've dreamt of it twice. So that's super cool. Who knows why, but
Yeah, that
Lord's
the
guide.
Komiho or Gomio.
Is that what
There's
it's
different
called?
versions of it. Yeah, I was just looking it up. It's like the nine-tailed fox sort of thing. There's
Nine-tailed fox, yes.
different variations of it and stuff like that. So yeah, within like Chinese folklore and mythology, different tales, and there's also like yeah, I'm just kind of like looking on Wikipedia and stuff like that, fox spirits and stuff. And it kind of, yeah. Oh, it's cool. Anyways, we'll have to, and I think in some of them it like flew around like a dragon or something too. That's kind of cool. So anyways, I feel like we're getting close to wrapping this up. I know we only got so much energy, and Lacey and I need to wind things down for the rest of the night. And yeah, let's just go around with just kind of some closing thoughts and gratitude. And we appreciate everybody again just being here for another Druid and Mystic Dream Discussion Circle and helping co-create it. Kelly, thank you for keeping it locked down in the YouTube chat and seeing all the beautiful comments there, and for everybody else in the YouTube chat for joining us. And yeah, let's just go around one last time with just any closing gratitude or even just like simple tips and tricks. We didn't get too much into like the practical, like oh, this is everything you need to do, but always reminding you guys the basic stuff. Again, setting intentions before bed, cleaning your space, having a dream journal, practicing meditation, paying attention to what you're bringing into your body, exercising, creating like a healthy environment within your body, and having community to be able to talk about it are some of the best ways to be able to help support that practice as well. Lacey, any just closing thoughts and gratitude for all the other dreamers out there, and then we'll get wrapped up. And Kelly, Flash, I don't think Flash is here, so I guess it's just me and Lacey just wrapping it up. But Flash, if you are there, feel free to jump in. Go ahead, Lacey.
Yeah, so closing thoughts. I think you gave a lot of great tips there. Yeah, I think, just keep the fire lit, keep the excitement, and just keep practicing. And the more you practice, the better you get at it, and the more you get to learn about yourself, and you'll have lots of fun. So, yeah.
Lots to learn, lots of experience. So beautiful. Just thank you again to Lacey for joining us, and yeah, thank you everyone as well. And I'll just put in that last reminder and plug. You're going to hear me talking about it more and more. Again, the Ibble app, if you guys haven't checked it out yet, go ahead and download it, because that's where I've created a dream log recall thread. So I would love for us as Paradigm Shift community members to help create some momentum and lead by example within that app. And again, for you to use that thread as a practical tool to be able to practice sharing your recall, just even in short 1 minute, 2 minute little video clips. I'll be leaving some of my own replies on there and using that as a practical tool for me to be able to help focus my dream recall intentions as well. So again, the Ibble app, the link's in the info for this YouTube video. Type in Ibble on your app store. It's only available in certain regions. It's not fully available in Canada. If you're in Canada, Ibble. Use my referral link in my Instagram or TikTok profile, and follow me there at Mystic Spider-Man, and go ahead and create an account. And again, if you are a conscious creator, reach out to me if you're interested in possibly being able to work with Ibble. They do have some awesome opportunities to be able to help support conscious creators who are bringing engagement to their app. So what I'm doing here as a community is helping bring more awesome content and community to the space, and then all together we get to be able to create some awesome things as well. So lots to be able to experience. More awesome dream discussion circles still to be able to come. In the coming weeks, we're going to be having some more some flowetry workshops, open mic, spiritual seeker support circles, and lots of other awesome things that we do here on the regular here within the Paradigm Shift Central community. And again, check out the Discord for more content and services and events from other members in the community. Join the Patreon if you haven't already yet to take part in ongoing events. Thank you again for those of you on the Patreon. Feel free to contribute through any donations. Check out the item shop, etc., etc., etc. And yeah, we look forward to being able to have you here and joining in for more paradigm shifting discussion. So we'll wrap it up here. Thank you again, everyone, so much. And Lacey, feel free to join me in saying farewell, and until next time to all the other beautiful dreamers out there. So we'll see you at the dream tree. Bye, guys. We love you guys.
See you at the dream tree. Bye.
Thanks, everyone. Much love.